Oh, baby, I'm a well-oiled machine. I'm back.
All right, good evening, Nords and ladies. The February 6th episode of Game of Thrones Fantasy Podcast. This is your host, on my bank. Joined tonight by what looks like a bat owl. What is that, Lewis?
It's a kitten. It is a bat. It's a Batman kitten. I wore it for House Swan.
I was going to say, pandering anyone with that one? Of course not. And someone who just turned off all of their lights so we don't have to see them on the channel here is House Reed. How are we doing, Jeremy?
Oh, I've had better nights. Kids are screaming, sick, not sleeping. It's great.
Yep. Speaking of screaming kids, there's no Eric tonight.
If he's screaming at the kids that don't exist.
That's all right. That's all right.
Cool. So we are in the off season. So again, a little too early to go much further into the rookies than we did a couple of weeks ago. So what we're going to do tonight is do a quick touch on the Super Bowl, a couple other of league business, but get you out of here in short order. So first and foremost, let's talk about a really exciting Super Bowl. Lewis, what were your thoughts?
I didn't want either team to win, honestly, but somebody had to, and I guess I'd rather take Philly over New England just because New England would then have 6 Super Bowls, and they probably get one more before Brady retires, so that would make 7, and that would be good for my team. So, I'm glad Philly won, but I'm also glad that they proved that they are the shithole that everybody believes they are and knows that they are because they destroyed their city, or what was left of their city to begin with, and did things like eat horse shit. So makes it 100% better for me, at least, I think. The game was pretty good, though. So other than that, I enjoyed the game. I thought it was nice for once that the calls went in the team that's opposing the Patriots' favor, and I like how that turned out.
Well, I liked that the calls, like, it seemed just from my memory of it, that the refs kind of backed off.
Yeah, big time.
Most Super Bowls or most games anymore, it seems like the refs are more involved than not. And then in this one, it seemed like, oh, that's probably a call. And then there was no flag. It's like, oh, okay. And then oh, that's probably a call. No flag. So it's like they're just letting them play, which was pretty cool. It's kind of refreshing.
Well, I tell you what, on the Hail Mary, I called it as soon as I saw it. I don't know if anybody else was paying attention to it, but I think it was.
Nah, nobody was watching.
I think I'm pretty sure it was Hogan, one of the white guys, got absolutely. It was either Hogan or Amendola. I can't remember. I think it was Hogan. Got absolutely lit up on the Hail Mary. Like, someone gave him a forearm shiver as he was going across the field towards like where Gronk was, and he just got dropped on it. So it's like illegal contact down the field, which is I think 5 in the first down. So it would have been another chance. And then Gronk got hit early too, but they didn't call it. So I loved those calls too. But I definitely was waiting for the he didn't get that one, let's give him another try type of deal. So I was definitely waiting for that at the end of the game.
Yeah, it was one of those where if you're looking at the contact on the field, absolutely, like I said, it was either Hogan or I think it was Hogan or Amendola gets laid out, but then 5 yards later, Gronk throws someone to the ground as well. So at a certain point, like you said, Jeremy, the refs got out of the way and let the guys play. I think that was the biggest complaint of the Pats I've heard thus far is not that they got out of the way, but more that it wasn't consistent with so far this year. Like, Jesse James catch, not saying that the Ertz catch and the Jesse James catch were really fully comparable, but that the Jesse James catch came down to kind of that 100th of a second, frame by frame view, whereas the Ertz catch or the Clement catch may not have been really subject to that kind of scrutiny. So from one side, it's nice not having them down to that level of, scrutiny, but at the same time, it wasn't consistent to how it was called all year. So, I can see the frustration from either side, but setting all sorts of records in terms of yards, points? Is that the highest scoring Super Bowl too, or is that just?
I don't think it's points, but I think it was definitely offensive yards. Oh, of course, offensive, but highest yardage. I had read that right after.
I never saw the points thing, which leads me to believe that it wasn't the highest points. But I also love the field goal kicking because before the game, they talked about how it's a kicker's paradise up there, and that they were hitting they become like whoever they brought in for the kicking analysis was like, oh, they'll hit them from 50. They've been doing it all day long. And then the first I think extra point got shanked, and then Gostowski absolutely butchered that one that dove left, dead ducked, and then came back right and smacked off the bottom left corner of the post. So that was great, and then he butchered another one. So I thought that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, actually, it was funny. So the main Dynasty League I'm in, outside of this one, there's a pretty good size of the pot, 70% coming from the playoff winner, and came down to literally those missed kicks. One guy had Gostowski, and he ended up losing by about 2 points because points for missed extra points and missed field goals. So Gostowski misses those, and he loses probably about $800 worth of the pot because of a kicker.
That's great.
That's what he gets for playing in a kicker league.
Hey, we've got a punter league for that. That league that determines who doesn't have to pay for drinks at summer meetings. So we take it very seriously.
How about that Foles play though? Like the carbon copy of Brady missing the catch. They do the same play, but Foles catches it for the touchdown.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Did you see there's a tweet I think yesterday about that it was an illegal formation.
What?
Yeah, because of where the receiver on the top of the screen was lined up, he was off the ball, which gave not enough men on the line. And because of the man on the bottom of the screen being on the line, he was a covered up receiver, which basically meant it was an illegal formation that just wasn't called.
For the Eagles one?
Foles just the same.
For the Eagles one, yeah.
I don't know. No idea. That was a sick play call, I tell you what. Get him with his own play on fourth and whatever that was.
Such a fuck you play.
It really was. It was like, oh, you ran it? Oh, here, watch. We'll show you how it's done. And
I was watching with my buddies. I was like, wait, was that Foles? Was that Foles that caught that? Did he just run the Brady play?
I want to know what footsteps Brady heard because there's no one near him. Probably, I mean, somebody was closing in, but he had to have been 10 yards away.
So to miss the catch.
Yeah, I would imagine that he would at least lay out for that or at least stretch if he knows that he has all the time in the world to catch that. And I think it was just one of those things where he's like, I think he realized that somebody would absolutely decapitate him if they had the chance to hit him outside the pocket. And so he was just like, nope, I don't want any piece of this.
Well, let's also keep in mind that, Foles stretching out and getting it, who knows that level of quarterback, there's probably a decent enough backup. If you're Tom fucking Brady, you stretch out, you get injured in the Super Bowl, Brian Hoyer comes in, your team is fucked. So if it's a 3rd and 6 that you have to kick a field goal instead of maybe extending the drive in the first or second quarter, that's less of a problem than time running down, 4th and 1, either pin them down or get points before halftime, and you're Nick Foles.
Who was the
or whatever else he gets called these days?
Who was the Philly backup quarterback for that game? Behind Foles.
It was a rookie. I think it was the guy that Detroit had on their as their 3rd stringer earlier in the year that somehow ended up behind him.
I have no idea. I'll Google it and see who shows up. But that's a good question. I have no idea. I would say it's like Sudfeld or something, one of those guys.
Sudfeld, yeah.
But I don't know the exact order. And of course, my computer is freaking loading the roster and taking too long. But that's the name that popped into my head.
Yeah, I think you're right. But yeah, it was a fun game.
Oh no, yeah, good game, really good Super Bowl.
And Sudfeld actually looked decent. Yeah, it was Nate Sudfeld, and he's actually looked decent in a little bit of time he played because I think he played week 16. Anyways, I'm rolling leagues over, at least in the process of it, and trying to figure out
Lewis has given us his full attention as usual.
how to do that. Well, I started doing one, and then it becomes like, oh, what else can I do? And it's just so I've rolled over a confidence league, and I'm not doing No Brew Left Behind because those are the easiest ones. Except for it's putting people on the clock when I roll it over, and I hope to God that it is not going to start a draft clock because
I'm gonna go pick.
I'm not
Especially
going to.
since we're supposed to convert picks to auction money in No Brew.
Yeah. So that's why I'm making sure May 15th. 11. No, so it's good. It's not going to go until May 15th, so we should be all right.
What was next in our script tonight?
Yeah, our little agenda here. So next, again, to your point, was rollover. So Lewis sent a note out earlier today around the GOT rollover. Really, it's a matter of everyone cleaning up their injured reserve so we can get rosters rolled over, get picks lined up, and get things going. Lewis, do you want to highlight a couple things that I might have missed in terms of the rollover?
Yeah, I might have jumped the gun on the IR thing. I swear to God that they had fixed everybody's IR thing. So, so I get the messages that the rosters are illegal.
Mm-hmm.
So I swear to God that they had removed designations, and then when they rolled over today, they put them back up there. So that was counterproductive because now they're going to have to take them all back down. But anyways, we'll just clear things up because they're going to do it eventually. I just don't know.
We voted on a day, right? Or you picked a
day? We didn't vote on a day yet. Well, I mean, we voted that we're going to pick a day. I didn't do it yet because what's the rush?
You executive decision chose a day.
Yeah, I think I'm going to just executive decision chose a day. And I think it's just going to be, I think I'll just write by the end of they usually roll over, I think, or attempt to roll over in the middle of the week past. So I think I'll just do, by the end of the week that they roll over, because it's usually that way. Usually I don't roll leagues over right out of their gate because they do those massive updates. It's usually something is wrong, but since they didn't update anything this year, I'm just going to go ahead and move things over. So we'll see how things go. That's why I'm kind of pushing these other leagues because they're a little easier to handle if something goes wrong. I don't want to roll over NFL GMs and have massive issues.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun. Wonder how the contract years will go when we do that.
It should all automatically go. So we will see. All right. NL whatever. If I can talk right, MBLB successfully rolled over. So I think that's all for rolling over. I jumped the gun a little bit because they did put the IR things back. But, I mean, just clean that up and then we could roll it over. It makes it a lot easier for me when I go to roll over players. I don't have to select as many and don't have to deal with IR. And I'm pretty sure, let me look and see if they removed IR restrictions on players when we roll over anyway. So that would be kind of pointless if they reinstituted that, considering they used to roll over and it disappears. And they did because Aaron Rodgers is on IR still, right? Yeah. So they did do that. So they disappeared when you roll over, and they were disappeared on 2017. So I don't know why they did that, but yeah. So we'll go with by the end of the week, this week, Friday, sometime, whenever I sit down and have a chance to look at rosters. If your roster doesn't meet the IR requirements, I'll just kind of probably be emailing you or just kind of dropping players. Some teams have enough spots that I can just kind of throw players on active roster, but we'll deal with that when we get to it.
Oh, makes sense.
And then right. I think our next topic has to do with Clegane. I don't know if we want to have a wake for him or what. I'm thinking that maybe
he's not dead.
This will suck for House Reed because he can't just swap this out. But House Reed, I can't believe I just called you that. But I think we could just leave his little banner thing in our 30 some that are across the top and just add our new one. But that probably makes it that much tougher for you to do that graphic. So maybe not. I'm just thinking of small ways to keep him a part of things without making it look like he died. So I don't know how we'll do Hall of Fame, but I think we're gonna incorporate a Hall of Fame in there somewhere, and he'll be our.
We have the throne room. We can throw another thing in there.
I guess I don't know. That's a lot to put in there. I think there's a. I don't even know what's in the throne room anymore.
It's all the superlatives, all the.
Yeah, I think
winners.
we can throw in. I think we can throw in like a link. Like there's a link. I don't know who's listening to Avril Lavigne or whatever that is, but Christina Aguilera. Is that for Clegane? Who is it?
Sarah McLachlan. I don't remember.
I was close.
Yeah, but I agree. It makes sense for him to play someplace. But yeah, some highlights of
I'd like to think that he's watching somewhere. Just he somehow stumbled upon us on YouTube and is watching.
He's got to be hiding it from his wife.
I guess. Anyways, but I think we can put like there's links in there. Like we can do like an elite board. Like I do that for WWE. So I think if we just put that link in there, then people can click on that and go to like whatever we make it say. I have a couple different ones with WWE, so I'll show you those and we'll see. That way it'll at least like make it less cluttered. So, because it'll just be a little link that says whatever we want it to say. So we'll try that. We'll see. We'll bury it in there. Leave his little banner along the top. So I was thinking, I really wish that there was more like, I guess I can post on Reddit here because I forgot to do that. I talked about doing that, but I've posted on DLF forums or whatever.
Oh, I posted on Reddit.
They're terrible. They're terrible. I found this really interesting dude for the Cleveland League who was like had no interest in like. I don't even think he commented about the league, asked about the league. He just was like pumped for Seneca Wallace. And I was like, all right, man, you want to be Team Seneca Wallace? So here you go. So I found him. I found a couple. I think there's one other guy that messaged about Game of Thrones, but he doesn't email me back fast enough. So that is really making me like not want to pick that guy.
I basically copied your whole post from DLF and put it on Reddit.
Oh, thanks.
On the Dynasty subs. So we'll wait it out and see who responds.
Right. I suck at doing that stuff, so I do it and it turns into one big word with no spaces. It's like my mother texting me. So I have that guy who wrote me this big. It was a nice big thing he wrote. He was like, I'd be interested. He'd either be interested in Marvel or this league, but then kind of I think picked this league because I put an asterisk next to this one and said I wasn't just going to take anybody for this. So of course he was like, "Oh, I'd be interested in that one. Like I like Game of Thrones. Like yada yada yada. I'm active. I'm in 2 leagues or 3 leagues or whatever. He runs one of them. I'm most active in all my things. Then I've emailed him like I think I had to message him twice to get him to email me, and then I've emailed him twice, and it just takes him way too long. So like I think I want him to respond in like 3 seconds, and he takes a couple of hours. He takes a couple of hours. So we'll see how things go with him.
Yeah, you have to be a hardcore addict.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what my other options were. I messaged Bobby of House Cod previously, who left and was interested. But he too also took a little like I thought he would jump on it when I said, "Hey, there's a chance I might have an orphan. You still interested?" And then like his answer should have been yes, and his answer wasn't yes, and that pissed me off. His answer was like, "Why do you have an opening?" And I was like, "Bitch, did you read what I said? Like I just said I possibly have an opening." So, so we'll see. He might be an option.
We'll see. No, fuck that guy.
On the waiting list, I pulled New York Giants in NFL GMs was interested. But he was like, "Oh, I'll have to take a look with the sights down." And I was like, "Dude, you know, they don't need to like. It looks pretty. Like you don't need to see it. Like it looks pretty. I'll tell you like what the team is and all this other stuff." But he takes a while to respond to. I don't know if people just are slow nowadays or what, or I'm too hyped up for things. But we'll see. So I have a couple options for who replaces him down there. I'm just trying to think of what team banners. I guess we should make a Martell.
What? Oh, is
House Martell? Isn't that where it is? I have no idea. I don't know the house.
Martell is in Dorne.
So he's not in the Westerlands. Rats. I don't know any Westerlands.
Sand Snakes. Remember Sand Snakes to Martell? It's the same.
Oh, okay. So I'm trying to think. I don't know any other Westerlands names. So
yeah, because you're not a real fan.
Lots of great options for when we get the next team in here. So
that's all right. But yeah, so that's everything pertaining to him. I thought he would respond back to me by now because he said he'd respond on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, which was really freaking weird. But that's what he said, and he never responded. So I don't really want to disclose some of the stuff. I don't know what he sent you, Jeremy, but
I think it was
my version was. I had a real long ass version of other stuff, and I commented right, like I sent it right freaking back so that I could grab him before he went offline, and it kicked right back. I was so mad. I was like, "You son of a bitch!" But
no, I think he sent the same email to all of his commissioners. So, like,
it sounds sketchy, and I don't want to speculate because I know there are some things that he did and may have done, may not have done. So I don't want to. But I don't expect him to come back into Dynasty anytime soon, if at all, ever. So for those that are holding out hope, I just don't think that's going to happen. I think it's a little awkward that he completely pulled off of Twitter and email because I'm not quite sure how that helps you or doesn't help you. But it is what it is.
Yeah, but he will be missed. He was a great owner and great podcast guest. So truly a late breaking news while we were on the pod when
we announced his freaking winning.
Never really heard from him again. So you'll be missed, but we're working on pulling a replacement. We've heard some interest, so those of you who have talked about the league with others who have been interested, let Jeremy and Lewis know because, again, Cogain's team is available.
Yeah, it is. And he took over a team in Marvel that's a free roll that I guess I'll eventually find someone for. But
he took over a team in GM's equivalent and also GM's his own team. So he's got quite a few teams out there up for grabs.
Yeah, I have to check his financial obligations. I don't know if he paid to this league. I like that you threw the 2017, 2018, 2019 payment thing on the other leagues. It's not like Game of Thrones, so I appreciate that. No, I'm just kidding. It probably makes it too cluttered because there's enough shit on this page already. I wonder what he paid for in NFL GMs.
There you go. I gotta run away. My kids are crying, so apologies. I'll check with you later if you're still on.
All right. I don't know what else I have to say. I can't remember what I wanted to say. But I'll find somebody for here that's good. I'll find someone for Marvel that's good. I found a dude that's, like I said, I found a dude for Cleveland that's pretty pumped. So I have 2 guys left there to find. And I've got 2 guys to find for NFL GMs or girls. Doesn't matter. Dudes or chicks. And of course, I'm glad that Swan doesn't listen to the podcast because she would call me out for being, I don't even know what that is.
Being sexist or something.
It's not sexist because I'm not going against either one. It's just because I'm not like gender neutral or whatever that nonsense is. My wall should be painted gray instead of blue and pink is basically what she'd say to me. Yes, I don't know. Let me get on to our league's homepage here because
yeah, I mean, at this point, it's just talking towards 2018, and we're going to roll over the league. We talked about that. At this point, it's, I guess, like you said, once we roll over, what are some of the big events? I think rookie draft is going to be after the NFL draft, so probably early May. But otherwise, I mean, it's just going to be, you know,
Yeah,
keep trading,
so
looking around, keep doing your research, and get ready.
yeah, I was expecting some big moves, or not big moves, but just I think it's one of the things where I wanted a date picked for people to cut stuff down because I think that helps re-drum up some activity, especially in here where I think it's kind of fallen out for whatever reason. I think as a whole, I don't know if everybody got too stretched out in far of leagues that they've been doing, or just have gotten more busy than what they've been since year one. But I think the activity levels definitely dropped. But since I announced the IR cutback thing, you and I made a trade. I think you and Tyrell made a trade.
Yep.
And then just some interesting. They're not. Maybe they're not interesting. It's not the right word, and they're not really by any means big name guys. But I definitely think that there'll be guys that will be re-rostered at some point next season.
Yep.
I think Travis Rudolph was dropped. Keith Smith, one of the Dallas running backs, was dropped. I think he's decent. Or maybe it was Rod Smith. I can't remember. Campanero in Baltimore was dropped. I took a gamble on Fedorowicz coming back and dropped Ryan Griffin, so I could see him being owned. TJ Yates got dropped by both copies, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing too crazy, but there's been just some movement. I cleared house and dropped some really crappy guys. And Tyrell got on a couple minutes ago and dropped Kristen Michael, Andre Holmes, after activating them from his injured reserve. So it's starting to – teams are starting to make moves. I'm hoping that trades are going to be the way that – I mean, that was my goal at least. Some teams are going to do trades, but I'm not quite sure that people are just willing to trade right now, which I think is kind of a weird dynamic in this league because I think it also has spread to some other leagues.
Well, I'm doing my best. I've got 17 offers still out there to see if because as a tribute to Clegane when he left, I made an offer to each franchise.
32 trade salute.
So there were a couple overlapping. So like you said, you and Tyrell took yours, so that took a number off the board, and others have been accepted. But still a good 17 that are waiting for a response. So if you're interested, I'm sure you probably have a trade for me in your inbox, and if not, well, it got accepted already, so offer a different one.
I don't want to roll over any more leagues tonight, I don't think. I'm left with Cleveland, Game of Thrones, Marvel, and WWE to roll over, and if something goes wrong, it's going to be way too complicated, so I'm not going to touch those ones. Yeah, so we'll see. I'm hoping – I think we might get a couple of ticky-tacky trades, which is whatever, but I thought for sure maybe we would get some like one or two high-level trades going through here at some point.
I did have a Cook move 2 weeks ago or a week or two ago, and then Mixon last night, so not, first round.
Yeah, I wanted to comment on that trade actually because I knew the trade happened, but I didn't really look and see what the pieces were. I knew Funchess was involved because I think that was you that was wanted that somebody posted they were moving Funchess. I could be wrong. Could have been you. It could have been Macers in a different league because I think he owns them everywhere. But somebody posted that they wanted to move Funchess, and he might have done it after he saw what you got for him. I'm not quite sure the order of operations there. Of course, I can't get to the freaking trade. I'm gonna kill somebody. All right. Franchise transactions.
That's another
There's so many
trade
trade
going on.
rejections to scroll down here. That's yours and mine. Okay. Derrick Henry and Funchess for Duke Johnson and Joe Mixon. Oh, he posted this somewhere else, I think, to see what he got back. I don't know. I think I kind of like. I think I'd rather have Funchess and Henry, but I'm not 100% sure. I think this one could go either way. So,
yeah, there's plenty of upside on each side. I took the trade because telling the story for how Henry ends up as an RB1 and Funchess ends up as a wide receiver 1 or 2, I feel is a easier and more likely outcome than Johnson not getting overshadowed by one of these running backs and Mixon getting the line help he needs to really break out. So, I think he has Bell upside, so that's really the carrot in all of this. But that being said, the story that you would have to tell for how they would end up being an elite asset, I think, is a little bit easier for for Henry and Funchess.
well, and Duke Johnson's value could absolutely take a shit.
That's the other thing.
If Barkley gets drafted in Cleveland, it's not that it takes a shit in Dynasty. I don't know how old he is, but contract-wise, he has to be. I imagine he's there for a couple of years. But at least for a while he would be in Cleveland, he'd have zero value. So he would be under contract for next year. So he really would have no value next year, and then probably have a little bit of value for 2019. But it's hard to sit on a running back or invest in a running back that's going to sit out for almost – well, not sit out, but not play or get snaps for almost an entire year. So we'll see. I think it's interesting. I think it can go either way. But I think I like Funchess over Duke Johnson. So I think I like your side better.
Groovy. Glad to hear that.
I don't know if Jeremy's coming back, and I don't know how long we've been on this thing because I don't know how to work it.
Well, it doesn't really say, but we want to keep it short anyway, so we might as well do so. So, that being said, we're going to be a little bit shorter these off season. So, we'll let everyone close out. Louis, last thoughts?
Get your IRs cleaned up. The quicker we get that done, the quicker we can roll over. And again, upon rollover, we get another boost of activity because what becomes available? Is it 2019 picks will become available here?
Yep.
Upon payment, of course, but those would be available for trade. And I think that'll help because I think right now everybody wants 2018 picks, and those that have 2018 picks don't really want to move them. So I think the infusion of 2019 picks will help that a little bit. And so, the quicker we can get to there, then we can see maybe a little bit more movement, a little bit more trading. And I guess activity in general. We'll have a little bit more to talk about. I don't know if we'll be doing one of these next week. Probably not, unless Eric wants to, I guess. But I just to progress things along here. Let's get the IR cleaned up and ready to go. We'll get the rollover. We'll get the 2019 picks open. We get. I don't know what else I have to do. We'll get an owner in here, and then we'll be, at that point we'll be ready to go. Be waiting on April. So a lot of things are still happening and ready to go, and it seems like we just crowned our champion.
Yep. So again, I think like you said, we probably won't have one of these next week. Not enough content, but I think following week we'll have kind of some flashbacks to last season. I'll have a couple of thought pieces that I'll put up on the site we can talk about. kind of the what ifs that I did last year, as well as teams that are kind of either tearing it down and rebuilding or otherwise. So, has some ideas to talk about there. We'll be a little bit closer to the combine, if not already there. So, we'll have an update to our rookies and maybe even a mock rookie draft as well. And then, like you said, we'll have a lot more trades to talk about because 19th will be available. The teams that always sell their picks will sell their picks, and we'll see what the 18 draft is looking like and start seeing some activity there. So again, like you said, I'm really excited to see more activity in the league and get everyone back at it. So we'll go ahead and close things out. So thanks for joining this week's episode of the pod. Oh, that's right. I had a lead earlier that I wanted to follow up on. So for those who were in GroupMe, big topic today was the shuttle launch. Well, not shuttle launch, but the launch vehicle of the Falcon 9 Heavy that went up. Everyone asked, what do people think? What do people, what orbit is it in? Stuff like that. So a little bit of history on me is before I became a podcaster like this, I was a aerospace and defense consultant and worked with one of the competitors for SpaceX. And basically, our big message to them was, you guys need to get your costs down or else SpaceX is going to come take everything from you. And they said, well, they might take some of the lighter rockets and lighter launches, but there's no way they're going to take any of the heavy launches from us. So the fact that SpaceX was the first to market with a heavy rocket that could potentially get us back to Mars gave me a particular piece of joy because we were saying that 10 years ago to really smart people, and we were right. So anytime we're right, you got to be able to gloat about it. So hope everyone enjoyed that. But either way, that's my closing thought for the week. Thanks for joining, and hope everyone has a fantastic couple of weeks here.